up and do a big announcement. When Louise steps down from her announcement, that's your cue to come up here, and you're going to ring this bell 3 times. Great. Come on up forward, and we're going to practice. So with this one, this is the handle part, this is the part you're trying to do. So with this one, to kind of wake it up, you just want to sit next to it for a moment, and then you're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then you'll put it down, and then you can have a seat. You want to practice that? Or you go a little louder than that at the time. Perfect. Good. I'm going to have you put your knee back. Sorry, let me give you a... So,
Good morning. I'm Louise Gephardt. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick on this land that we now call Brunswick, Maine. If you are visiting and would like more information about our congregation, please stop at the visitors table in the fellowship hall at the back of the sanctuary. The folks there will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. In the interest of safety, please note that there are 3 exits to this building. One is through the door you came in, one is back in the corner, right over there, past the booth, and the third is all the way back of the church in the through the RE, and just keep following those hallways, and you'll get to the door. Also, in the interest of safety, just to mention this, we are having a fire drill next Sunday. Please consult your bulletin or your order of service. There's a notice in there. Please read that all the way through, so I don't have to read it to you now. And also, please, in the interest of everyone here, silence your mobile devices, if you can. And as we begin our service today, thank you all for coming, and we're very glad you're here. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Mira Pianpiano. Lighting the chalice today is Izzy Schinhofen. To Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice is a symbol of welcome. UUs all over the world begin their time together by lighting the chalice. In religious exploration meetings, we have a very special way of lighting the chalice. To us, the lighting of the chalice symbolizes 3 things: the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. As I recite our RE Chalice lighting words, I invite you to join us in the words and movements. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action.
Good morning. My name is Evelyn McKenney.
My name is River Nord, and our opening words this morning are by Tess Bongberger.
It takes a Unitarian Universalist village to raise a Unitarian Universalist child. We will read what we believe important for our children to learn, to know, and to experience. We invite you to respond by saying, "It takes a village to raise a child."
It is important for our children to know they are cared for, to know they are part of a large family, an important part of a bigger human picture.
It takes a village to raise a child.
It is important for our children to believe in themselves, to trust in themselves, and to know that they can make a difference.
It takes a village to raise a child.
It is important for our children to know our Unitarian Universalist principles, to find ways to live them in their daily lives and realize that the choices they make are important.
It takes a village to raise a child.
It is important for our children to be able to speak about our faith, to honor its history and its heritage, and to appreciate its heroes and heroines.
It takes a village to raise a child.
It is important for our children to explore religious truth and meaning in the Jewish, Christian, and other world religions, and to know ours is a religion worth having.
It takes a village to raise a child.
It is important for our children to experience the spirit of life, to feel a sense of awe at the grandeur of the world, and to live lives of empathy and compassion.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 188, in singing the living tradition, "Come, Come, Whoever You Are." Please rise and body your spirit as we join in singing. Thank you.
Now is the time in the service where I'd like to invite the children up to read a book with us.
Before we begin reading today's story, oh wait, is this on? Yeah, okay. Before we begin reading today's story, I have a question for you. You can answer yes by raising your hand. If your answer is no, you can keep your hand down. Have you ever thought that you knew exactly what was going on around you, but you later realized that you had no clue what was going on? Like you made assumptions about someone or something? Okay.
You can go ahead and put your hands down now.
Our Time for All Ages story today is called In the Neighborhood. It was written and illustrated by Rocio Bonilla. Once upon a time, there was a neighborhood. Like so many others, it had houses, streetlights, trees, and neighbors who had never met one another. Camilla lived at number 15. There was always a lot of noise coming from her house. The neighbors figured she was hard of hearing, so she had to turn up the volume on her TV.
But the real reason for all that noise was that Camilla had 10 babies who were bundles of energy.
Camilla didn't dare to start up a conversation with her neighbor, Mr. Martinez. He seemed so serious and straight-headed. She was convinced he didn't like kids and wouldn't want to have anything to do with her. Mr. Martinez worked as an important lawyer, just like his mother, grandfather, and great-grandfather before him.
But when Mr. Martinez got home from work, he changed completely. He had a secret hobby. Juggling. If only I had an audience, he sighed. His neighbors were noisy. His neighbor were a noisy hen and a huge dragon who didn't have much of a sense of humor.
The truth was that there was no huge dragon living on the street. Mr. Martinez's neighbor was a little mouse who lived in fear because a cat moved in nearby. We all know what cats like to eat, right? Philip the mouse was very creative, and he came up with a very clever solution to keep his very dangerous feline neighbor from coming anywhere near him.
What Philip couldn't possibly imagine was that the cat across the street was vegan, so he never ate mice. Olaf the cat loved to play cards, knit pillows, and most of all, lovingly tend to his vegetable garden. Olaf was so shy he never once waved to his neighbor. Would you risk annoying a fierce dragon?
On the corner lived Matilda, a brilliant scientist. She worked all day in her garage, building astonishing inventions. Matilda spoke only to her robots because she had no one else to talk to. She figured no one lived next door. That house was always locked up tight.
But someone did live there. It was just that Miss Paquita slept all day, like owls do. Then she spent all night on the internet, reading the news and playing game after game of solitaire, so she didn't remember to raise her blinds.
Peep the ogre lived at the top of the beanstalk. No one ever rang his bell, so he never left the house. He was convinced his neighbors were afraid of him because ogres have such a bad reputation.
The truth was, Peep was a bookworm who yearned to share his love of reading. He dreamed about organizing a book club in the neighborhood, or even better, two, for one about books of traveling and another for superhero books, which were his favorite kind.
One fine day, something terrible happened. Miss Paquita's internet connection stopped working. Oh dear, this is horrible, she moaned. Matilda was shocked to hear her neighbor. Someone did live next door. Since Matilda was very handy, she was able to solve Mrs. Paquita's problem in the blink of an eye.
The next day, Mrs. Paquita realized she needed one more egg for her cake recipe. She rang her neighbor's doorbell for the first time ever. Peep the ogre was very pleased to see she wasn't afraid of him and ran downstairs to have tea and cake. Oh, it's this way.
Camilla looked out her window and was surprised to see three neighbors eating cake together. That made her think she should try knocking on Mr. Martinez's door. She found out that he wasn't so straight-laced after all.
Rudolph the cat got a big surprise when he decided to put away his fear and shyness to go visit the dragon for the very first time.
Soon, everyone knew about one another. They became friends. The neighborhood was now something different, a community.
And everyone was happier. You may now return to your seats. In just a moment, a member of our pastoral care team will lead us all in a time of joy and concerns. In our religious exploration program, we have a special way of sharing our joys and concerns. We drop a stone for each joy or concern that we share. As the stones collect together, they remind us that we are not alone, that sharing joy helps our joy grow, and that sharing our concerns helps lighten the load a bit. We also drop stones for any unspoken or unvoiced concerns or joys.
Good morning. I'm Sue Labes, a member of the pastoral care team. And I would certainly say that one of our joys, our great joy this morning, is seeing all our children. Aren't they wonderful? Yay. And RE is alive and well. Thank you, Tobin. Okay. Steve and I write, our daughter would have been 58 on May 15th. We hold both joy and sorrow that she's no longer with us, and great joy and gratitude that we had the privilege of being her parents. And another joy is the spring flowers are showing off their belief in pluralism. Okay. If you cannot be with us to share a joy or a sorrow and would like to do that, you may email us at UUCB Joys and Concerns. And if you'd like to speak to somebody in a more private way, we have blue ribbons on our name tags. That is, if we don't go home with our name tag and leave it in the car. So, thank you.
My name is Karma Amos, and I'm honored to serve as the minister of this congregation. It seems only fitting on this RE Sunday for us to offer a prayer for the children. And so would you join me in a spirit of prayer? Spirit of life and growth and promise, we give thanks for the children of this church community, those among us today, those who aren't here because schedules. We give thanks for all the children who are dearly beloved by every human in this space. Our kids, our nephews and nieces and nibblings, our grandchildren, our adopted children, our neighbors, and all the children who will soon join our RE program as we continue to grow. We give thanks for the children of our larger community, for children all over the state of Maine, for children in every state of our nation and the District of Columbia, and for children in every country, in every land, everywhere. Help us affirm the best in all children and learn again the wisdom we may have forgotten through the years or the grind or the tears. Let us praise their curiosity and encourage their questions, even in the stage when why is running on an endless loop. Let us never discourage their questions, because curiosity is the key to transcending judgmentalism, which we need so much. Let us praise their creativity, nurture their imagination, and safeguard their freedom to be and do and think and love in ways most authentic to their spirits. And may their liberation be shared by people of all ages, genders, colors, orientations, and abilities. Let us praise their ability to believe in magic, to see as possible what does not yet exist, those aspirational visions that cynicism may have obstructed. Let us encourage their capacity for hope, even in the face of despair, for their sake and for the sake of us all. Spirit of peace, we pray especially for children who are living in the shadow or fear of violence, those who have been made refugees by war, climate disaster, or violence, lack of opportunity, those whose homes are not safe or who do not know where they will rest this evening. May all children everywhere have enough to eat and drink. May they have shelter, support, and protection. May they know kindness. May they be deeply, deeply loved. May they survive to thrive in the better future we will create together. May it be so.
Good morning. My name is Kai.
Sorry, the microphone's too high.
Good morning. My name is Kais Vermette. Today, because I am doing the reading, I want to share a bit about togetherness. What I think togetherness means is that it is a way to share love with one another. No matter what feeling or attitude the person you are with has, you can still share love with them. And it can be anyone. Some examples are a shared loved one or a snuggly pet. What I am trying to say here is that I think togetherness is the bridge between people's hearts. It can make people feel happy or sad depending on the words you use. If we did not have togetherness, we would not have peace. Even though we talk about the feeling of happiness as the best kind of feeling to have, if you cannot share happiness, the whole world will not be happy, and that is the thing all people want.
Ooh, that got me a little bit. Good morning. My name is Tobin Cooney Calnan, and I serve as your Director of Religious Exploration. This morning, I plan to give you an update about the RE program and share with you some of the things that we've gotten to do in RE. But before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about how we prepared for today. Now, for some of you, that might sound like a magician revealing her tricks, but I'm going to do it anyway. A couple of weeks ago, all the children and I got together, and we reviewed all the parts that make up an order of service. I listed out every part that we needed to do, but left the music up to Will, because as I have told you many times, I do not music. We read through all of the parts, and we talked about what those parts were. Then the kids raised their hands to volunteer for the parts that they wanted to help out with. We made sure that everyone got a chance to participate in some way. Not all kids can read or like to speak in public, but it turns out that there are many different ways to be helpful during a church service. You can ring the bell, light the chalice, collect the offering, make art for the cover of the order of service. Some kids were not able to be here today, but they still contributed to the service by helping out and creating a special surprise that I will talk more about later. I don't want to spoil now, but let's just say it has something to do with Schmiffs for the religious exploration schmitty. For many of the parts, we decided to share the way we do it and the words we use in our religious exploration meetings. For all of the other parts except one, the kids decided what they wanted to share. Two of our amazing children decided to write their own reflections. You heard Caius's profound words and his beautiful thoughts already today. There is no way that I would have come up with better words to share with you all. Later, you will hear Jocelyn's beautiful words. If you were here last year for RE Sunday or watched the service online, the opening words that we used this morning might have sounded familiar to you, as would Evelyn's gesture probably look familiar to you. We used the same words to open last year's service. I did that on purpose, and it meant that Evelyn and River didn't get to choose the words that they were going to use, but I promised that I ran it by them to make sure that it was okay. It was. Last year, during our RE Sunday service, I shared with you some of the challenges that had faced the religious exploration program over the last couple of years as we came back from the pandemic. And I shared with you some of my hopes and visions for the future of our RE program. We used the same opening words, "It takes a UU village to raise a UU child" last year as an ask for volunteers to help out in RE this year, and as an invitation for folks to think about the ways that they connect to this village, this community. For the Time for All Ages story, I handed Mira and Maya a bunch of books, and I asked them to choose which one to read together today. I swear to you that I left the choice completely up to them, and I did not share that I had a strong preference towards one of the books, and that they picked the book that I was hoping they would pick all on their own. What I love about that story is that it's so relatable. Who hasn't made an assumption about something, person, or situation that kept them from trying something new or meeting someone new? But the reason that I was hoping they would pick that particular book is because it speaks to a phenomenon that happens in many communities, and one that I have definitely witnessed in UU congregations: siloing. For those not familiar with the term siloing, think about silos on a farm. They are used to separate grains to keep them pure. You wouldn't want wheat mixing with dried corn because the wheat would contaminate the corn, and then anyone allergic to wheat could potentially have an allergic reaction to the corn that the wheat was mixed into. In communities, siloing isn't talked about as ways of preventing contamination, though in some unhealthy communities, that intent is there. In UU communities, siloing refers to folks finding a specific area of interest and focusing on goals that support that interest. And we definitely want folks to find a place at UUCB where they can connect and where they feel compelled to share their gifts. But like in the story, what sometimes happens is that folks get focused on the work that they are doing, so focused on the house, the silo that they are in, that they don't necessarily consider what other folks in the other houses on the street are doing and what needs they might have. Hopefully you are following this metaphor, but just for fun, let's call these houses, these silos, committees. What often happens when committees focus on their work without noticing the way that their work intersects with the work of the rest of the community, they end up competing for resources. There's only so much money in the budget. There are only so many people who can volunteer to help chair a committee. And when we are competing for resources, we are not truly able to function as a community. In my RE sermon last year, I shared with you about the challenges that face the RE program as we work to rebuild. I shared with you that I'm a guy who knows how to get by. I can make do with what I have, and I can survive for a long time that way. I share with you how that mindset worked really well in holding things together during the pandemic. I led most of the meetings by myself. I had the RE committee's support, but I didn't ask for support from the larger UUCB community because in my mind, y'all were also working the art of getting by and didn't have a lot to offer. And I shared that I realized last year the short-sighted nature of that being an angel of the get-by. There is rarely room for growth when you are just focused on getting through. It is extremely hard to thrive when you are just making do with what you got. During the pandemic, the RE program was its own house on its own street, and it needed to be. It kind of had to be in order to rebuild, but as we started to come back together as a community, the opportunity to open the doors and open the windows and step outside of our silo presented itself. And when we talked last year about how it takes a UU village to raise a UU child, you listened. When I asked for your help in supporting the children of this congregation, many of you opened your doors, opened your windows, and stepped out of your homes, your comfort zones, maybe even your silos, and you showed up for these children. You showed up for this village, this community. And because of that, we were able to hold multiple small group meetings each Sunday to give the kids a chance to better interact with kids in their own age group. We were able to offer the Our Whole Lives program to both grades 4, 5, and 6, and the 7 and 8 group. For those who do not know about the Our Whole Lives program, OWL for short, that is our gender and sexuality program that teaches children and youth about their bodies, their gender expression, their sexualities, and how to navigate some of the complicated feelings and situations that arise as people experiencing bodies and gender and sexuality. And it starts in kindergarten and goes all the way up to older adults. Just had to put that quick plug in there. And this year, we had the most consistent RE attendance each Sunday that I have seen in my entire time here, including the 6 months that I was here prior to the pandemic. I think that it is safe to say the children in this village are being given the opportunity to thrive. And I thank you all so much for that. And I especially thank everyone who volunteered to help out in our RE meetings this year, and there were a lot of you. I thank the committees and teams who kept the children in your vision as you did the work of this community, and who included us in supporting UU events like the Christmas Fair. To echo and to modify with gender inclusivity the words of Mr. Rogers, anyone who does anything to help children in his, her, or their life is a hero to me. And the vision of RE for next year has grown. You have all invested in expanding the program to include adult programming. How amazing is that? My time here will increase next year, but I will still need a lot of help keeping the children's program healthy and strong and growing as I take on this new invitation to help our community grow with adults. Our RE meetings are over for this year, but I have created a form for folks to share ways that they want to support the children next year. That form can be found on our website under our Learning for Children and Youth tab. And there's also a sign-up sheet in back on the visitors table for folks who want to sign up with pen and paper. Just had to get that quick plug in there. Last Sunday, I asked the children to share words that came to mind when they thought about UUCB. We turned those words into a word cloud. And I added that word cloud to the PowerPoint. Take a look. Welcoming, joy, togetherness, quiet, kindness, happiness, peace, friendship, working together, wisdom. That is what this village is to our children, and that is what being a community is all about. At this time, I would like to invite members of the RE committee to come on forward. Am I doing that out of order? Okay. I would like to invite members of the RE committee come forward. I have a group that I work with who helps me to do my job. So I invite Marcy, and I invite Allison and Brad and Kristen. Rebecca Waddle is also on the committee, but she couldn't be here today. I'd like to invite you all to come forward. And I asked for some help. I would love to have some folks come help me give gifts. So if I could please have Fiona and, let's see, Tess. I lost my list. Hold on one second. There's so many papers today. I made scripts for everybody. So, of course, I kept all theirs straight, but not mine. Can I have River come on up? Can I have Willow come on up? And Fiona come on up? And Jocelyn McKinney come on up? Looks like we're missing a couple of folks. Can I have Caius come on up? Oh, they're in the nursery, naturally. All right, so friends, you'll see over on this table, there are some schmiffs for the Shmari Shmamidi. If you would pick one of those gifts up, and there are only 4 people up there, you might notice, because I forgot to call Louise up. Louise Geffert, would you want to come up? Sorry, you're way, way in the back there. Louise has been our liaison between our committee and the governing board. So here, you may come on up. You're going to want to step maybe in front here. And you could pick a person to pass the gift to. Does everybody have a plant? Oh, Willow, we have an extra one. Oh, gotcha. So we have an extra plant because Brad, you already have a plant? Good. All right. Willow, we can just, that was for Rebecca. That's Rebecca's plant. Sorry, Rebecca. All right, you can go ahead and put that. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And Jocelyn made these beautiful cards that she wanted to share with you. Can we all give a collective thank you to the RE committee? Thank you, my helpers. You may go sit down. Thank you, my RE committee. I could not do this without you, and I deeply appreciate each one of you.
We couldn't have RE Sunday without this amazing Tobin. And I just wanted to take a minute on behalf of the RE committee to give such a huge thanks to Tobin, who has worked with my kids for many years. And as many as you know, Sam's graduating this year, and he's just had a profound impact. And it's a pleasure and privilege to serve on the committee. If anyone here is interested, see me or Tobin, because it is so much fun. I wanted to just talk about his passion for kids. And Tobin always says, I'm an introvert, and he's not a crowd person. If you have time to meet with him individually, he lights up. And when he talks about kids, it's like this dynamic excitement and playfulness and fun spirit that is just incredible. And he connects, he knows every one of the kids here and can talk about them and their needs. And he holds them all in his heart. He is so creative, just eternally new ideas. We come each month and it's just like Tobin's sharing, like, oh, I have this new thing. Oh, let's do this. And it's just, he brings that creative energy to our group. He's so generous with his time. I'm glad that he's going to be all ours next year, because he has been moving between two worlds and giving so much more of his time than we're paying him for. And so it will be so good to have him here. He also has a playful spirit, but a spiritual depth. And he starts our meetings and he finds these wonderful poems and just allows us all to ground ourselves in the work that we're doing. And it's so rare to find someone that has just this emotional spirit and also this depth to him. And I'm grateful for that. And most of all, I'm excited about his vision. And so you can see how far Ari has grown. He's built this village that we can all join, and our kids have grown. And I'm so excited about him bringing that vision of diversity and passion and fun and depth to our entire congregation. We just have something so very special here. So we needed to take a minute to acknowledge Tobin today.
Now is the time in our service when we collect the offering. All Sunday non-pledged cash is split with the monthly charities with Soul. This month's charity is Wabanaki Reach. Before we pass the baskets, I would like to share with you the offering words that we use in our RE meetings. We share to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We share to remember that we are part of the UUCB community. We share because together we have enough. Our offertory song, Magic Penny, is a song that we sing in our religious exploration meetings as the basket passes.
All right. I think we're going to do it one time, and then if it looks like we're not wrapped up yet, we'll do it again. And I know a lot of people in this congregation know this song. Feel free to sing along. I loved that the word cloud was in the shape of a heart, because it shows how much love is here. And this song is about love, too. It starts with the word love. And I'll give you 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Love is something if you give it away. Give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. For love is something Love is something if you give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Love is something if you give it away. You'll end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Let it stranded and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Love is something if you give it away. You'll end up having more. And you'll end up having more.
Please join me in sharing our congregational response. May these offerings sustain and grow the work of this church, weaving a tapestry of love and action.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing our closing song, the Garden Song.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn McKenney. At this church, I feel so loved because everybody is kind to each other. Every Sunday before I leave UUCB, Miss Stephanie gives me a hug. It makes me feel so loved. I also feel togetherness when we meet for Ari, because Tobin always has a fun craft for us to do together. Every Sunday after church, I see people talking to each other nicely. It makes me feel so happy that everybody is being so kind and nice to each other. I hope that when you leave this church, you feel togetherness and love. Thank you.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. Those we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you.
the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. Sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it will turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. Greet your neighbor.